Hello, my name is Erica Howard. I'm from the North Shore of Long Island. I'm part of a film festival there. Had the pleasure last fall of seeing you film out in Roslyn, and heard you're also out in Port Washington, which is great. And also congratulations on the success of the show, which is fantastic to see. I have a question about producing, being that writing and producing are completely different skill sets, of how you were able to start those steps to make the transition to becoming a good producer.
Well, there's a kind of de facto, like writers are sort of de facto producers, and then you in TV.
Yeah.
And so when you're covering set, I mean, Wes comes to it with much more honestly than I do, because he has served on crews and stuff like that. I just sort of waltzed in and like fake. I was such a faker in the beginning because I didn't wow, what is gaffer? He must have gaffer's tape. I didn't know what his job was. And then you pick it up over the course of time, and that's how one figures out what producing is. And then producers are, some producers are. I think part of the job as a producer is being a producer is to make decisions that are going to keep the train moving, and to understand what the triage in any situation is, and to know whether or not it's really worth going into the second meal penalty. Those little pieces are really important to put together. But you kind of, as a TV writer, you kind of pick it up on the fly.
Yeah, I also want to say the great thing about being writing in TV versus film and features, the director is king in features and the writer is king in TV. Yeah. Like, the head writers are the showrunners of the show, and the director comes in and is a hired gun who does what the showrunners want. And that's a big difference. Whereas the director is the tops in film. And everybody in a writer's room, if you've been in one for more than a couple years, you get to be a producer by default. It's just like the ranks. It's just what you're called, and then because you have a responsibility beyond just writing your episode, you're like a guardian of the tone of the show, because you're the one who's there with it 9 months of the year. And certain day players or directors come on, they're there for 2 weeks of prep and 2 weeks of shooting. Yeah. They're the new guy.
Thank you for explaining that, because in film, when you're a writer, it's unless you're invited onto the set,
right?
Or given
Oh yeah.
permission, you're like locked out. So thank you for explaining that.
Yeah.